107.5.
And we say a very good morning to Mr. Nico Kleynhans. Thank you for your time, Nico, and thanks for joining us in studio on this wet and windy Thursday morning. When it comes to domestic workers, back in September of 2022, our Minister of Labour announced his intention to grant domestic workers the status of formal employees. Tell us a little bit more about what we need to know when it comes to domestic workers.
Yeah, because this obviously not only affects domestic workers, it also affects employers. And these are significant changes, and we've got to kind of get it right. The first thing is it gives domestic workers a new status. And as now part of formal employees, they have benefits which were not available before. And also now as employers, you have now got responsibilities which you did not have before. And those responsibilities are very important. The main one is that domestic workers now qualify for compensation fund benefits in the event of them being injured on duty or in the event of them dying while they're employed. So their families now qualify for certain benefits, and if they are injured on duty, they qualify for certain ongoing benefits. And for that to happen, there've got to be certain steps that have to be taken by you as an employer. So the first thing that you need to be aware of is that all domestic workers must be registered with the UIF fund if they are working for more than 24 hours per month. You have to go and register them on the UIF fund. If you don't do that, you're going to break the law and you're going to get into trouble, especially if there's an injury while that worker is on duty. The second thing you need to be aware of is that there's now a limit of the working hours. No domestic worker can work for more than 45 hours per week, or if they're working for 5-day week, they can't work for more than 9 hours in a day, and that includes lunch breaks as well. So if they're working for more than 24 hours per month, they have to be registered. So that's important that you understand that. Most domestic workers work for more than one employer. So what's got to happen is the employers have got to get together, and one employer must be nominated as the main employer. You can't say, because my housekeeper works for 4 different employers, we didn't decide who was going to be the main employer. You are required by law to get together and to define who's going to be the main employer, and that person has to do the registration process and make sure that the registration process is done correctly. That means, should your housekeeper, let's say, climb up a ladder and fall off the ladder and hurt her back, her medical bills are going to be covered. You're not going to have to pay for those medical bills. It will be covered. And the rehabilitation will be covered. And if the injury is so severe that she cannot return to work, she will be guaranteed an income for the rest of her life. So that's where the benefit comes in. There will be protection. Should she die while she's being employed by you, her family will get benefits. So there will be life cover available to the family, and they will then have the benefit of that. So what is happening here is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It may sound like it's a lot more work. but it's one of the few benefits, I think, which we should be happy about. Now, the challenge comes to get that registration done. There are two ways of getting the registration done. One is to make a phone call. Good luck with that. And we have given you the telephone number if you're watching the video, the telephone number will be there. We've also given you an email address. So those are the two ways that you can get the registration process started. And at least use one of those two. The email is obviously the better, because then you can prove you tried to get the process started, and you can't then be accused of being negligent. So the process is, if it's more than 24 hours per month, you have to register. The second thing you need to be aware of is that if your housekeeper earns more than 8,000 rand a month, and there are people who earn more than that, then you are also required to make sure that the housekeeper is registered with SARS as well. So then you have a second obligation, which you must do. And the SARS registration, your housekeeper will need to go to SARS with the ID, and they will then do that process for you. But it's benefits that should have been put in place a long time ago. I'm very happy that it's finally happening, and I think it will offer a protection which should have happened many years ago, but it's going to give benefits going forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nico Kleynhans. And it's quite easy and quite simple to go and watch it for yourself on YouTube or on Facebook.